See our streets being cleaned up. I see our citizens being safe and looking out for one another. I don't know what you see, but I can see beyond my pain. I can see beyond my problem. I can see beyond the challenges. I see help is here. Help is all around me. I thought I was by myself, but I am not alone. There's chariots and horses and fire all around me. God's got me going and coming. He's with me. He's my helper. He's my keeper. He's my way maker. He's my standard bearer. I don't know what you see, but I can see past my divorce. I can see past my bankruptcy. I can see past the sickness. I can see past the cancer. I can see past the unemployment. I can see past the crime. I can see a better Clayton. I can see a better Henry. I can see a better United States. I can see a better world. Can you see it? Can you see it? I hear that there's hope in the air. I hear that there's peace coming. Can you see it? Can you see a better life for your children? Can you see a better way of life for yourself? Woo! Listen. We have got to get to a place where despite what we're looking at, we focus on what we see. I can see Job in a bad situation, losing everything he had, but he had the vision to know that I'm going to see my Lord. This Job who lost his health, his wealth, his wife and his family, but he can still say, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. I saw this same Job in Job 19 describe all that had gone on in his life. He said in Job 19 verse 12, he says, God's troops come against me together, build up roads against me. They encamp all around my tent. He's removed my brothers far from me, and my acquaintances are completely estranged from me. My relatives have failed. My close friends have forgotten. Sound familiar? Those who dwell in my house, my maidservants, they count me as a stranger. I'm an alien in my sight. I call my servant, but they give me no answer. I beg with him with my mouth. My breath is offensive to my wife. I'm the repulsive to my children and my own body. Even young children despise me. Job got some issues, don't he? Job got some problems. He says, I arise and they speak against me. All my close friends abhor me, and those whom love have turned against me. My bones cling to my skin and my flesh, and I have escaped by the skin of my teeth. Have pity on me. Have pity on me, oh my friends, for the hand of God has struck me. Why do you persecute me as God does and not satisfy me with my flesh? But it takes a shift. Isn't that a sad story? Isn't that a lot for one man to have to endure? But I think I see Job seeing past his current circumstance. Because in verse 23, he changes up. He says, oh, that my words were written. I know I've gone through that, but I want you to understand that what I got to say now, I hope it's written down. Oh, that they would inscribe it in a book, that they would engrave it on a rock with an iron pen. He said, what I'm about to say, don't you forget it. All the things that I've gone through, all the people that's forsaken me, all of the challenges that I face, one thing I remember, I know my Redeemer lives. I know where my hope comes from. I know. Y'all ain't heard what I'm saying. I don't care how bad it gets. I can see beyond my pain. I can see beyond my circumstance. I know my Redeemer lives. And he says, and I shall stand at the last on the earth. And after my skin is destroyed, this I know, that in my flesh I shall see God. Whom shall I see for myself? And my eyes shall behold, and not another. My heart yearns within me. I yearn to see the redemption of God. Even though I'm going through all that I'm going through, I'm looking forward to what God's going to show me. I can see, if you got a vision, you can get through. If you got a vision, sometimes seeing the goodness of God will cause you some pain. I remember Paul saying that I saw a vision of paradise, but that vision cost me something. He saw the goodness of God, but it came with a thorn in his side. But in the midst of the vision, there came a thorn. But what I could see Paul saying, that though I got this thorn and I asked God to remove it from me 3 times, he didn't remove it. All he said was, my grace is sufficient. We got enough peace from God. We got enough grace from God. We are able to get through this. I remember the 3 Hebrew boys. when they know that their God can deliver them, but all they were looking at was a fiery furnace. They knew God could show up, but even if he didn't, they knew that they would see him even in the afterlife. They would see him and they wouldn't bow down. And they said, our God can deliver us, but even if he doesn't, he's still God. And then they were thrown in the fire, and then the other people who threw them in could see. Didn't we throw 3 in the fire? How is it now that I see 4 in there? Because if you can hear God and trust him, no matter what fiery furnace you're in, he's right there in the midst. Can you see it? Finally, I can see John, who wrote the book of Revelation. But you understand about John and writing the book of Revelation, he wrote the book of Revelation after the Roman Empire boiled him alive in a pot of oil. It didn't kill him. He kept on preaching. They gave him some poison. It didn't kill him. They kept on preaching. I can see John now, and they put him on an island called Patmos. Put him in a cave where scorpions and rats ate on his flesh. But in the darkest part of his life, in the night season of his life, he could still pen a book called Revelations. That even in your darkest hour, you can see beyond where you are. He saw and he heard words like this. And God says, write this down, that he who endures to the end shall overcome. He heard words like, he says, he that have an ear, let it hear. Then he started hearing God say, come up a little higher and let me show you an open heaven. I don't care how dark the cave you're in. If you can listen to God, he'll show you something higher. Wherever you are, he's saying, come on up here a little bit higher. And then as he kept on writing, the Bible says that John, with burns on his body, healing from the poison, locked in a cave in the darkness of life, he could see an open heaven. And then in Revelation chapter 21, the Bible says, I see a new heaven and a new earth. And the first shall pass away. And then he understood that even in the midst of my darkness, I can see the hope that was coming, and that God would be a God to his people, and there would need not be a sun, because the Lord will be his light. And the final words that he said, he says, and God will wipe away every tear from my eyes. There shall be no death, no more sorrow, no more crying, and there shall be a change in my life. Listen, you have got to start seeing beyond your pain. Because if you can see beyond your pain, God's going to show you something. Let me tell you what happened to the Syrian army.